don't need to smash and wreck the entire world to unearth every secret hiding behind the surface of Donkey Kong Bananza. We'll do the digging for you and dive into the hidden details you probably missed on your adventure. Unleash your fury on the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss anything about Donkey Kong and Nintendo. These are the 25 secrets of Donkey Kong Bananza. If you finish Super Mario Odyssey, you might not have noticed that you actually played Donkey Kong Bananza ahead of its time. The final level, where you control Bowser carrying Peach while he demolishes everything in his path, inspired the original concept for Donkey Kong Bananza. That makes even more sense once you know both titles share the same development team. In short, Bananza's origin began in Mario Odyssey. To prototype the game's environment destruction, the developers built a very odd creature, a regular Goomba fitted with the fist from Knuckle-Tech in Super Mario Odyssey. This experimental critter let them throw Goombashes everywhere, back when the new original 3D model for Donkey Kong wasn't ready yet. By the way, Nintendo revealed a couple of images showing this game was initially planned for Nintendo Switch, but it was moved to Nintendo Switch 2 to take advantage of the new system's power. Donkey Kong Bananza plays big tribute to its roots on Ingot Island. You'll see the number 81 repeated often here, a nod to the year Donkey Kong launched in arcades. The red girders and certain structures echo those classic stages. And as the cherry on top, you can even find a replica of the original Donkey Kong arcade cabinet with the same design. Before Donkey Kong Bananza, DK already starred in a 3D adventure on Nintendo 64 developed by Rare, the creators of Banjo-Kazooie. Rare was famous for animating objects with big googly eyes, something Nintendo now honors with the Fractones, the wide-eyed inhabitants of the underground. One even looks like a puzzle piece, a clear wink to Banjo-Kazooie's Jiggies. Beyond pummeling the Fractones, you can reshape them by sticking chunks of terrain onto them, letting them take on all kinds of playful forms. The main Donkey Kong Bananza logo is trimmed with neon lights in turquoise and pink, hiding a neat secret. These colors reference the ladders and girders from the original Donkey Kong. You can see this clearly in the girded britches, which glow in the dark with the same colors and intensity as the logo itself. Many fans think Donkey Kong's new design comes from the Super Mario Bros. Movie, but that's not quite the case. Nintendo had been trying to update Rare's original look for years, specifically since Donkey Kong Jungle Beat on GameCube. The real opportunity arrived after finishing Super Mario Odyssey, when a new 3D DK adventure was greenlit. During that process, the movie served as an initial test of the new design, which then made its in-game debut with Mario Kart World. Some players feel DK's new fur is too orange, but it isn't an arbitrary redesign. It's a visual indicator of the Bananza level. DK's fur is brown when the power is empty and shifts to orange as it charges up. There are 4 special levels that pay homage to classic Donkey Kong games. Nostalgia Country, a tribute to jungle hijinks from Donkey Kong Country. Minecart Country, based on Minecart Carnage from the first Donkey Kong Country. Bramble Country, recalling the famed Bramble Blast from Donkey Kong Country 2. Arcade Country, a nod to the original Donkey Kong's first stage, 25 meters. There's also a very special Easter egg in Nostalgia Country. Climb the mountain at the start of the level to find Donkey Kong's iconic cabin. It first appeared in Donkey Kong Country and has popped up in many games since, in Super Smash Bros. Character intros, and even in DK's very own theme park area. The attention to detail in Donkey Kong Bananza is wild. For example, in Freezer Lair, the snowflakes are shaped like zebra hoofprints, and you can spot horseshoes on unbreakable ground. Something similar happens in the Forest Lair, where the terrain shows ostrich claw marks, and in Radiance Lair, where the texture looks like snake scales. Bananas are everywhere, not just as Banandium gems or banana chips. You'll also find banana-shaped grass and even flowers that look like peeled banana skins. Alongside his redesign, Donkey Kong has expanded his moveset with new additions. Beyond the roll jump that had been around since Donkey Kong Country on Super NES, DK can now perform a spinning jump in midair. Basically, Spinning Kong from Super Smash Bros. Finally made canon in the main series. The racing lair is packed with secrets and references. For starters, Dixie and Diddy Kong chat with Pauline about how they once had to rescue DK, a reference to Donkey Kong Country 2. Dixie's juice-drinking animation and Diddy's juggling also come from that game. Candy Kong gets a mention too, one of DK's supporting characters and the franchise's first female character. The blanket on Rambi's back is patterned after the girders from the Donkey Kong arcade game. During the Rambi races, you can spot a Double Trouble banner, a wink to Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. The music that plays during the race is Rambi's theme from Donkey Kong 64, composed by Grant Kirkhope. There was even a canceled game called Donkey Kong Racing, where DK and friends raced atop Rambi and other animals. The idea was scrapped after Rare was acquired by Microsoft during development, which meant the publishing rights were lost and the project had to be shelved. If you try and hit a character, Donkey Kong will react in a special way by high-fiving or fist-bumping them. Some will even change their appearance. For example, the zebras will switch from wearing warm clothes to a sporty outfit. Also, if DK sits on a chair or relaxes in the water, he'll slowly recover his vitality. If DK is hanging from the ceiling, he'll scratch his butt. Have you ever wondered why every time Donkey Kong eats a banana, you hear this? Banana! It's a nod to Donkey Kong 64, where every time a banana appeared, you'd hear this. Oh, banana. But that's not the only wink to Donkey Kong 64. The music you hear in the shelters is the DK rap, the song Donkey Kong and his family dance to at the start of the game. The gesture DK uses to offer gold to the trees is the same one he used when feeding Scoff bananas so Trough could reach the key and open the gate. The resort lair's quiz tone even references orange grenades and sparkling coconuts, items and collectibles you could find in Donkey Kong 64. When Donkey Kong and Pauline reach the surface, they land in New Donk City, the city that appears many years later in Super Mario Odyssey. According to Pauline, the city is known as the Big Banana, a playful nod to New York known as the Big Apple. At the start of the game, you can already spot crates on Ingot Island bearing the initials of New Donk City. You can even see the city itself in the distance if you look from the highest ledge. City posters feature Lanky Kong, Donkey Kong's cousin from the Nintendo 64 era. They also advertise the white boots of Espresso the Ostrich, the same color worn by the Ostrich Elder. Other references include Cranky Kong's phonograph, Sticker Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2, the New Donk City Festival from Super Mario Odyssey, and even On Guard the Swordfish. Okay, here's one for the players chasing an extreme challenge. You can finish the game without collecting a single banana. Even though they look important, the Banandium gems are completely optional, and you can skip them all. Doing so means you won't be able to upgrade Donkey Kong's abilities, and the game becomes much harder. If you want to go even further, you can even skip bonanzas like the zebra or the snake, finishing the game without obtaining all the transformations. During one of Mayor Pauline's conversations in Super Mario Odyssey, she reveals that many years ago she was kidnapped by a monkey. That line was always taken as a direct reference to the original Donkey Kong arcade game, but after Donkey Kong Bananza launched, the truth came out. Donkey Kong wasn't responsible for Pauline's traumatic episode. It was Void Kong, who kidnapped her in order to awaken the Banandium root located at the planet's core. If you like the song Mayor Pauline sings in Super Mario Odyssey, you'll be glad to know its origin comes from Donkey Kong Bananza. After you finish the game, Pauline asks DK to help her look for inspiration for her new song, and after tackling the Elder's challenges, she finally finds the perfect groove for her next track. That groove ended up in Jump Up Superstar in Super Mario Odyssey. So everything points to Pauline drawing inspiration for the song during her journey with DK. If you notice Pauline's dance in Super Mario Odyssey, you'll see she does the very same move in Donkey Kong Bananza alongside the Elders. In fact, the origin of this step goes back to the original Donkey Kong arcade game, where the damsel known as Lady moves her feet in the same way. Speaking of Lady, there's always been a lot of debate about this character's identity, and Nintendo has finally wanted to make sense of Donkey Kong's original story. During a few late-night conversations between Pauline and Donkey Kong, she speaks fondly of her grandmother, noting she'd been the proudest person to see her singing at City Hall. This ties directly to the early American artwork for the original Donkey Kong, where Lady appeared singing with the band, suggesting Pauline would be following in her grandmother's footsteps. There's also a special Cranky Kong line where he says, "In my day, rivals had charisma, even in overalls." This wouldn't be a direct reference to Mario, but to Jumpman, the protagonist of the classic Donkey Kong arcade game. By referring to Jumpman as his rival, Cranky confirms that he himself was the Donkey Kong from the original arcade. So, putting all these clues together, it's now clear that in the original game, we had Jumpman as the hero, Cranky Kong as the antagonist, and Lady, Pauline's grandmother, as the damsel in distress. At last, everything fits, more or less. After so many years, King K. Rool, one of Nintendo's most classic villains, has gone back to his old ways. And it's not just him. The rare design Kremling crew couldn't miss the party either. Classic Donkey Kong enemies like Critter, Necky, Claptrap, Zinger, Kaboom, and Army return during the game's final stretch. The fake ending credits are a nod to the Donkey Kong Country credits that roll after making the player think King K. Rool had been defeated the first time. And the fact that the final battle takes place in a boxing ring is no coincidence. It's a wink at the King K. Rool fight in Donkey Kong 64. So, what happened to Void? Well, according to Poppy and Grumpy, he just bolted. His whereabouts are unknown, but what we do know is where his banana moat ended up. Apparently, King K. Rool seized it to keep Donkey Kong and Pauline from reaching the surface. But after he was defeated, the device was lost and wound up smashed to pieces on the shore near one of Ingot Island's rocky outcrops. The writing used on signs and storefronts can be deciphered. Each symbol corresponds to a letter of the English alphabet, which makes it very easy to figure out what the game's signs say. This sign reads, "Message, thanks for reading, someone." Also, if you try to read it from the back, Donkey Kong will say you can't read it from the back. The fossils Donkey Kong has to collect in Bananza hide references to other games in the series. The beaver nods to the naughty from Donkey Kong Country. The pig points to Professor Chomps from Donkey Kong Country Returns. The spider to Squitter from Donkey Kong Country 2. The frog to Winky, the frog Donkey could ride in the Donkey Kong Country series. The anglerfish to Glimmer, the fish that helped Diddy and Dixie by lighting up the screen in Donkey Kong Country 2. The swordfish to On Guard, the fish Donkey Kong could ride in Donkey Kong Country. The banana bird to the banana-shaped birds that appear in Donkey Kong Country 3. The armadillo to Army, enemies that appeared in Donkey Kong Country. The description says those with military training carry cannons, alluding to the cannon-bearing armadillos in Donkey Kong 64. The sea urchins to the lurchin enemies. This strange robot to Chaos, one of the bosses from Donkey Kong Country 3. Then there's the tire and the TV you can find in Donkey Kong's cabin. And finally, the 8-bit fossils that directly reference the Donkey Kong arcade game. After finishing the game, Donkey Kong can whistle the song Heart of Gold that Pauline sings over the credits. In fact, if you keep whistling for a while, a bunch of birds will come over to see you. The main Donkey Kong theme has been around since his very first game. In Donkey Kong Bananza, this song is hidden in many places. For example, right before Donkey Kong and Pauline go to sleep. It's also part of the song Heart of Gold.
Look at us, so big and small, two together through it all.
Okay, so what happens if you 100% the game? To begin with, Grumpy Kong will build a golden statue of Donkey Kong on Ingot Island. Poppy Kong will give you the invisibility tie, making the adventure quite a bit tougher. The red balloons will now have Donkey Kong's face on them, like in Donkey Kong Country. And if you stick around after the credits, an image of Pauline singing in New Donk City, surrounded by characters from the game, will appear as a reward. Travel to Donkey Kong's real world with our video of 25 secrets from his theme park in Japan. And over here, we've got more curiosities about Donkey Kong and Super Mario. Thanks for watching. See you next time.